Last time on Umineko When They Cry. Well, Kinzo's past backstory got wrapped up to where it got a bit bittersweet of an ending, per se. And, well, that. Because it all adds up with how Nanja were best friends with Kinzo. And then, well, and then it moved on to Willard talking to the Ushiromiya cousins, in which it has the amusing bit between Jessica and Leon, considering both are siblings. Although that's the thing, right? The difference with this one is that Badler isn't present, and that, you know, Leon is there in episode 7. Although, who knows? Maybe there'll be a interaction between Willard and Badler at the very last episode. And then Willard using the theater going authority on Maria just to get some additional information about Beatrice, but if anything, it was more of a bit of a biblical philosophy. You know, Maria comparing herself to having like no father to like, making up a belief of having a father, which is, I don't know, either her father in her biblical belief is father, or just like, but either way, it is it is something to do with the Holy Ghost. Which I don't know if I need to have like a additional understanding of, of Christianity to how it resembles within like the understanding of witches. So, but I can see how it ties down to something similar like that. Anyway, let's continue. If we liken Maria's sense of identity to a universe, then this endless stream of words coming from her might be like the Big Bang. She spent so long tormented over how to interpret her lack of a father. Then, by chance, she saw a line in the Bible that looked like it secretly referred to her, and she formally formed an understanding for herself. The sad girl who had hated herself for being different from all of her classmates finally found a meaning for her existence. At that moment, Maria's universe, which had once been nothingness, was born as a clump of ultra hot, ultra high pressure energy. Then, later on, she went to Rokujima, met the Endless Witch, who called herself Beatrice, and a clump of energy exploded in a big bang, giving birth to their magical compendium. That was the universe known as Mariage Sorcière.
話が少し飛躍しすぎだ。順を追う。
And we're jumping a little bit too much topics there.
うん、いいよ。どこから？
自分は精霊の子だと解釈したお前が、そこから次第にオカルトに傾倒していくことは容易に理解できる。そこからだ。そんなお前がベアトリーチェとどこで出会い、どのように交流していったか。
それは本当にある日突然の唐突なこと。六軒島に住まうベアトリーチェという魔女に私は会ってみたかったの。同じ魔女として。
その頃にはもう自分が魔女という自覚があったのか。
あった。その の頃には聖書とオカルトでは大人にも負けないくらいの知識があったから。だから私は魔法は使えずとも自分を魔女だと信じてた。ちょっと滑稽だね。
Okay, now you're making that weird looking
だから
face.
私は魔女見習いなの。
いつベアトリーチェと出会った？
Alright, the volume is low. There we go.
よくは覚えてない。でもその出会いはよく覚えてる。それはとてもとても唐突だった。
そなたが後ろ宮マリアか。
It was so very sudden. I was just drinking some milk tea all alone in the rose garden arbor. Mama said she had to talk about something important with Uncle Kraus, so she told me to go outside and play. Suddenly she was sitting right there. I didn't know anyone who spoke that way. I quickly realized that she was someone I didn't know at all.
あなたは誰？
会いたいと言ったのはそなただ。わらわの島に魔女が訪ねてくるから出迎えてやったというのに、そなたはわらわの名を問うというのか？
That's funny because episode 5, this is Natsuki was sitting all alone, outside, and now there's Maria sitting all alone, you know.
ベアトリーチェ？
いかにも。わらわがベアトリーチェである。
確かに唐突だな。
うん、とっても。魔女や精霊はいつだって私たちのそばにいる。彼らが姿を見せようとしないだけで。そして彼らが姿を見せたなら、それはあまりに唐突に、そして当たり前にそこにいる。私はそれをまさに知ったの。
そしてベアトリーチェと友達に？
うん。彼女はママの用事が終わるまでずっと私とおしゃべりをしてくれた。魔法の話や魔女の話、マリアが精霊の子であることも。
The child of the Holy Ghost. I wouldn't be. I didn't even know Beatrice could even have info about the Holy Bible. Although, sure.
その時のベアトリーチェの印象は？
こう言っては悪いけど、知識だけなら私が上だった。最初は彼女のことを大した魔女じゃないと見下しかけた。まあ、それは私のうぬぼれ。魔法体験にはいろんなものがある。ましてや、私のそれは独学。ベアトの魔法体系とは異なったから、私が一方的にそういう印象を持ってしまったんだろうね。すぐにそれを後悔して謝ることになるの。
謝る？ベアトリーチェが何かお前の尊敬を勝ち取ることをしてみせたのか？なるほど。魔法を見せたというわけか。
What did they mean by it? We moved to the beach and talked lots, sitting at a table under an umbrella.
なるほど。マリア、そなたは実に勤勉だ。 その年で千年の魔女のわらわにそれだけの講釈をできるとは実に尊敬に値する。してそなたは何の魔法を使えるのか？
That's kind of weird. That's, how can Maria have higher insight? How can Maria, being a little girl, have more insight about how magic works comparing to what a 1,000-year-old witch would have? Because 1,000 years, you would think you have, like, you know, you would have the know-it-all be-all in terms of it. Within within a hypothetical belief. So.
魔法？
そなたが魔女を語るならば魔法の一つも見せられるであろうが。
I was stunned for a second. Of course, it should have been obvious. I was a child of the Holy Ghost, and since I studied so much of the occult, I was also a witch, not a human. Until that day, I had been so sure of both of those things. So when I was asked what sort of magic I could use, it left me in a daze.
魔法を知り語るに至ってようやく見習いよ。そしてそれを魔法という形で実践できてこそ魔女というものではないか。
マリアはまだ魔女じゃないの？
よく学んでいる。そして類いまれな才能も感じる。そなたはやがてわらわなど足元にも及ばぬ偉大な魔女、あるいはそなたが言うように造物主の座にさえ上り詰めるだろう。しかしまだ幼く若い。そなたはそう見習いだ。魔女の見習いというところよ。
じゃあベアとは魔法を使うことができるの？
無論であるとも。魔法を使えずして魔女を名乗ることなどできぬわ。
すごい。見せて！ベアとの魔法見せて！
Until this day, Maria had never doubted the magic-themed idea that she was the child of the Holy Ghost. However, no one had ever proven to her that occult phenomena actually existed. Maria could create a universe all by herself. However, she wanted to share it with the second person so that she could believe in it even more strongly.
かつてのわらわならば空に虹をかけ、それを七色のキャンディーに変えて自由にかじらせることもできた。しかし今のわらわは姿を保つことさえ満足にできぬほどに衰えている。
さっき聞いた。あの鎮守の社のせいで力が出せないって。
力を取り戻すにはかなりの時間をかける。虹をキャンディーにしてやることは今はできぬ。しかしささやかな魔法にてその一端を見せることはできようぞ。
Rainbows to candy? That's a little bit of a exaggeration there. I mean, what do you want us to do about the shrine? Visit over there?
見たい。ベアとの魔法見たい。
よかろう。しかしそなたにも協力を求めねばならぬぞ。先ほども言った。いかにそなたが汚れなき魂を持とうとも、人間はもはや汚れ、魔法を拒む毒素に満ちていると。
I'm pretty sure we already know that by now, and I'm pretty... You know, that's the thing, right? Maria met... The encounter of Maria with Maria encounter with Beatrice, there's so many times in which like it felt like the same thing.
聞いた。半魔法の毒素があるって聞いた。マリアの読んだ本には載ってなかった。だからそれを知ってるベアトはすごい。
Beatrice lifted up an empty teacup, then turned it around in front of Maria to show that there weren't any tricks or strings. I've already seen
伏
enough
せ
of
たカ
that.
ップにキャンディーが現れる魔法か。
どうしてわかるの？ウィルはすごいね。魔女の使う魔法もわかるんだね。
魔女の魔法の基本だからな。
カップは何の仕掛けもない普通のカップだったよ。私は見たかった。本当の魔法を見たかった。
Yeah, well, anyone would put a fucking piece of candy and drop it in the cup without any sort of noise and make it and pull it back up and make it look like it appeared. There was the thing Maria desired. To strengthen her belief that there was an occult side to her, she wanted to see the occult outside herself as well. That's why she agreed to help Beatrice with her magic. She didn't want her own toxin to ruin her chance of learning the miracles of magic.
よいぞ。さあ、そのカップを開けてみるがいい。
あ、キャンディーだ。キャンディーだ。
わらわからそなたへの挨拶代わりと、新しき魔女との出会いと友情に、それを贈ろう。
This was a true miracle of magic. For the first time, I felt shame and embarrassment at my conceit. I could feel that sense of omnipotence disappear. The idea that I was the child of the Holy Ghost and the most important and special person in the world. Instead of a child of the Holy Ghost who can't actually do anything, I'd rather be a witch who can use magic. Excuse me. Ushiromiya Maria wants to become a witch, starting off as a witch apprentice. I was already fascinated by Beato.
マリアも本当の魔女になりたい。ベアトの弟子になりたい。
謙遜を。そなたには十分な才能と日々の精進があるぞ。それにかつての力のあるわらわならともかく、この程度の魔法しか使えぬ衰えたわらわでは弟子を持つことなどできぬわ。
マリアは魔女の弟子にはなれない？
うん。
But that was a one hell of a pause.
わらわの弟子にはできぬ。しかし、友人にはできる。
That's funny. She can't be the disciple or apprentice, but she can be the friend.
本当？
Well, I mean, apprentice is like, colleague. So I'm pretty sure the difference between a colleague, that's the funny thing within the comparisons. Like, you may have a disciple or a colleague, but it's not really so it's not necessarily friendship, but, you're being an acquaintance, there's a bit of a interesting difference in mine.
うん。わらわとそなたはこれより友人だ。これからも共に深き魔女の世界を語り合おうではないか。
ベアト、ありがとう。このベアトのキャンディー食べてもいい？
いいや、それは土産にせよ。
Surely I can eat. Oh,
食べずにそなたの可愛らしいカバンに収めよ。
that's kind of weird to have like a piece of a source of food as a souvenir, but okay.
お家で食べる。
マリア、そのキャンディーは魔法で生み出されたものだ。ゆえに脆い。そなたがわらわの存在をその毒素で否定したなら溶けて消えてしまうだろう。
So eating up the candy made of magic is equivalent to denying her existence?
嫌だ。ベアトからもらった大切な魔法消えるの嫌だ。
I guess, you know, in order to like, I guess that piece of candy, you gotta preserve it, I guess.
ならばわらわという魔女に出会ったことを決して忘れてはならぬぞ。そなたがわらわとのささやかな約束を守る限り、そなたがまたこの島へ来るときは再びわらわがそなたを迎えようぜ。
守る。約束って何？
まずはそうだな。家へ帰ったら手を洗う。うがいをする。
Wait, what? A promise? Wash your hands, rinse out your
め
mouth.
んどくさがってはならぬぞ。魔女見習いの立派な修行の一つであるぞ。
That's the most simplistic thing to do when you wash your hands, rinse out, brush brush your teeth. Yeah, like, that's a simplistic routine there, but okay.
守る。毎日お家に帰ってきたら手を洗う。うがいをする。そうしたらまた会ってくれる？
約束しようぞ。そなたがわらわとの約束をきっちり守れたなら、そなたの体は清められ、わらわもさらに魔力を取り戻す。さすれば次に来るときはより素晴らしい魔法を見せようぞ。
約束守る。絶対。マリアはなる。ベアとの友達になって魔女見習いになる。
良き心がけであるぞ、後ろ宮マリアよ。そなたが早く一人前の魔女になってわらわの良き友人に成長してくれることを心より願っている。
これが私の初めてのベアトリーチェとの出会いだったと思う。
This is just friendship within, I guess, within your fantasy perspective, you know. I guess that's one way to like, you know, cope with that's one way to cope the problem of loneliness, I guess.
そのもらった飴は家に帰ってもちゃんとあったか？
うん。でもその存在を少しだけ疑ったから飴は溶けかかっていた。私は彼女を疑いかけたことを後悔したよ。もしもっと疑っていたら飴は消えてなくなっていたに違いない。そしたら私は目の当たりにした魔法の奇跡の証拠を失うところだった。
Oh, I guess depending on candy's condition, you know. The more you doubt, the more it's gonna lose its quality. I guess it's kind of like when you, I don't know, man. Like if I'm gonna be wished like a piece of cake in front of my eyes, and then if I, you know, if I had my sense of doubt, then the cake will like melt or mold or some shit.
飴が溶けていたのか。
飴というよりはキャラメルだったと思う。
I thought it's like some sort of a Jolly Rancher or like a sucker.
溶けかかってぐにゃぐにゃだった。
それは何月頃の話だ。
詳しく覚えてない。でもミルクティーがアイスだったことは覚えてる。それが何？
なんでもない。ベアトリーチェに出会ったことはローザには話したのか。
うん。その日のお夕飯の時にみんなに話した。クラウスおじさんに笑われた。そしたら隣の席のママにその話は終わりにしなさいって怒られた。おう。
Yeah. It's typical. I mean, I guess Rosa thinks Beatrice is like a forbidden name that could like, cause a disturbance in the family.
隣の席。序列上、お前の席はローザと隣り合わないはずだ。
親族会議じゃないもん。ママとマリアだけが訪ねた時の話。だからクラウスおじさん一家全員とママとマリアしかいない。席は詰めるから親族会議の時とはお席がちょっと違うの。
うん。お前の隣の席にローザだったんだな。
うん。それが何？
なんでもない。ベアトリーチェと六軒島以外で会ったことは？
ないよ。だってベアとは体が希薄で自由には動けないんだもの。
Huh. So you're telling me you can only meet with Beatrice exclusively on the island. That's the thing, right? The word Beatrice seems like it's just exclusive to the island and not outside, but if you're outside of Rokinjima, then you can have some sort of a cult to it.
マリアの体に乗り移ってもいいよって言ったけど、島からは離れられないからできないって言ってた。
その後は六軒島へ行くたびに会っていたということか。
うん。私たちは大の仲良しになった。ベアトと話せば話すほどに彼女は本当にすごい魔女だと思い知ったよ。彼女は会うたびにいつも素敵な魔法を見せてくれた。そして私とは異なる魔法体系を聞かせてくれて、二人で魔法の深淵を語り合ったよ。私は早く彼女の高みに登りたいと思った。ベアトのような魔女の域に達したいと願った。
ベアトリーチェを母親に紹介したことは？
ないよ。ママは毒素が強すぎるからまだ会えないって言ってた。大人はほとんどダメだって。みんな汚れてるから。
お前以外にベアトリーチェの姿を見ることができた者はいるのか？
最初は無理だった。 魔力が弱いからね。毒素に少しでも近づくと体が壊れてしまうって。でも次第に魔力を蓄えてマリア以外の毒素の少ない人の前にも現れられるようになったよ。
それは誰だ？
Yeah, I think I know how it works, but I'm pretty sure even with strong toxins, you can slowly but surely, clean it bit by bit to where you can actually like persuade or convince the person with the strong toxin, like, to understand and believe in that sort of thing. That sort of a cult.
あんまり多くない。使用人の一部の人だけだった。
具体的には？
今日いる使用人全員。合田さんは違うと思う。
つまり源氏、シャノン、カノン、熊沢の4人ということか。
あと南條先生も。
That makes 5. Apparently, they would sometimes come to visit Maria and Beatrice's witch tea parties. Of course, they had only come by for minor things, like bringing some more tea. However, they were certainly aware of Beatrice and even talked with her.
使用人たちはベアトリーチェとはどう接していた？存在しないはずの客人だ。驚いたりはしないのか？
Yeah, she's just some imaginary being. But I guess, servants, that's the odd part, right? Servants usually, I guess some servants usually are not a fan of like working for the Ushimiya family, to where they rather have like something else or some company,
しないよ。だってベアトリーチェはお屋敷のもう一人の主だもの。
She said that the servants treated Beatrice as an honored guest, and sometimes they were permitted to witness new miracles of magic along with Maria.
つまり1986年の六軒島でベアトリーチェに実際に会えたのはゴーダを除く使用人4人とお前と南條の合計6人だけだったということか。
Normally, it would be 6 out of 18, but if we're going to exclude Battler, that makes it 17. I don't know, man. Like, I know I've had a YouTube comment when I was told like, the math of it. So, but including one, would that be 18? But it usually like, because I've already seen like enough episodes to where it's like, oh, in red, Kinzo is excluded. That makes it 17 people remaining. The 19. That's the weird part, right? Although that's the thing, right? Episode 7, that makes it 18 right there. On the island. And we're excluding Battler. But there are occasions within the terms of it, it's like, oh, there are 17 remain on the island. So that makes the 6 out of 17 that believed in Beatrice. So it's like more than 1/3 precisely. So that's one way to put it. So
ベアトもそれ以外の人の前に現れるにはもっともっと魔力を蓄える必要があると言ってた。
つまりそれ以外の人間の前にもやがては姿を現すつもりだったわけか。
ての人間たちに自分を認めさせる日こそが自分の復活の日だって言ってた。
This is a new track this time. Some piano music. Maria, the servant, and Nanjo had acknowledged her. She had probably appeared before new humans one by one, starting with those whose anti-magic toxin was weakest. Beatrice's game was to increase the number of humans who could recognize her, until she could make everyone on the island acknowledge her. Of that, there can be no doubt. In that case, the last person Beatrice needed to appear in front of would be Badler, the one said to have the strongest anti-magical power. Badler with the strongest magic toxin. Does this mean Beatrice thought Badler would be the hardest to convince? It seems true that Badler was one of Beatrice's goals. However, if we go with that chessboard thinking Badler loves so much, Beatrice is trying to make people acknowledge her existence, therefore, you might say that she's a character who can't exist unless people acknowledge her. Badler reached this idea himself as soon as the first game. Yes, there's something different about the Beatrice of 1986. She's different from the Italian Beatrice or the Ecuadorian Beatrice, both of whom certainly did exist. Well, that's what I noticed. Wasn't the Ecuadorian Beatrice was like the daughter of the Italian Beatrice per se? Or is it, is the Ecuadorian Beatrice is like just, some sort of, twin or resemblance? I always thought that because it's like, the Beatrice in 1986, the one we're so familiar with in a mysterious way, yet who has no existence. What does it mean to kill, quote-unquote, this Beatrice who has no existence? The minimum number of people required to create a universe is 2. However, Maria said that even a single person could give birth to a universe. And yet, Maria desired a second person. A second person to nurture the world who had given birth to alone. Because if it was born and not nurtured, it would die and disappear? Let's replace the word universe with Beatrice. The minimum number of people required to create Beatrice is 2. However, even a single person could give birth to her, and yet that single person desired a second person. A second person to acknowledge the Beatrice created by the first person. That meeting with the second person is the scene Maria has just described. Oh, wait a minute. I can see why Maria was saying something like this. Although, with Maria, it's like, oh, I believe it's... Oh my god. I always thought like there was like a metaphor to this because the biblical reference is like, oh, we need Beatrice. So a single person can give birth to Beatrice, but with this, it need 2. I always thought there was like some sort of like a metaphor to it because Maria born by one person. Although even though it's like you need a man or woman to create a child. Although, even though it's with Maria, she requires a father or something like that. And selected Maria. We don't need Furuto Erika's heartless reasoning to know that the teacup magic was a sleight of hand. Maria, believing in the story about the anti-magic toxin, would close her eyes whenever magic happened. Any sleight of hand would be possible while she had her eyes closed. The caramel Maria had been given as proof of her meeting with a witch had melted a little because Maria had doubted. In the season where one was likely to put ice in their tea, it was only natural for a caramel left in a bag to melt. Ushiromiya Maria, the girl who's too trusting and will accept the story easily. Beatrice appeared first in front of this girl who had, in the language of witches, very little of the anti-magic toxin. The creation of Beatrice can be thought of as an egg being laid. When a single person creates her, it's little more than a daydream. She's still inside the egg. If and only if a single person acknowledges her, the shell will crack and she'll appear. She'll only appear if a second person comes to warm the egg. When Maria acknowledged Beatrice, she finally hatched, and the chick was born. In that case, Mariage Sorcière, which nurtured Beatrice in her magical compendium, was like a nest. This is Beatrice, a woman with a dignified presence, who calls herself the Witch of Rokujima and who claims to have lived 1,000 years. That sounds less like the chick Beato, who appeared in the previous game, and more like Beato the Elder. So, did the meeting Maria has just recounted mark the birth of Beato the Elder? The egg itself had already been created by the first person, quote-unquote. Between then and the meeting with Maria, it matured immensely inside its shell into a character, quote-unquote, with the dignified presence of 1,000 years. Then, when Maria acknowledged it, it hatched, and the Witch of Rokujima finally gained a form. Perhaps that moment marks the birth of the Beatrice of 1986. The younger chick Beato was born out of love for Badler. Since that birth hasn't yet occurred at this point in time, the birth of Beato the Elder and the existence of Beatrice at this moment must have nothing to do with Badler. Are you enjoying this reasoning, Berncastle? If you are, let's at least have some applause from the spectators. Great, thanks a bunch.
Maria はベアトに魔法で叶えてほしい願いがたくさんあるの。だからベアトが復活するのに協力してるの。
願いとは何だ？
いっぱいある。内緒。
黒き魔女からママを守ってほしいか。
どうしてウィルは何でもわかるの？すごいよ。
魔女に願わねば取り戻せない世界だと。
Okay, but you want to protect Rosa from the Black Witch. But if you think the real witch is Beatrice, then who is the Black Witch? Because to me, if you... Okay, let's just say... Let's just say Maria says to me that it's not Rosa's shitty behavior, it's the Black Witch or the demon that had possessed her. I could say, well, that's kind of bullshit, in my opinion. Because with me, Rosa has little to no self-control of her behavior as a mother and, within Rokujima and outside Rokujima. Oh, yeah, and, I already said that a bunch of times, so. And you're right.
お前はもう思っているのか。
ママは大好き。優しい。いつまでも一緒にいたい。永遠に。
今度はマリアージュ・ソルシエールについて聞きたい。どうした？
やだ。
What do you mean, no?
何？
What? But, I mean, I know the alliance when it comes to Mariage Sorcière, between you, Beatrice, and even Angie, but you don't want to tell us you don't want to, repeat the explanation of the Mariage Sorcière?
私、喉が渇いちゃったから、ジュース飲んでくる。またね。
Maria became suddenly formal, bowed her head, and left without waiting for a reply. It was a very un-Maria-like thing to do. I see. So the game master has moved the piece. Apparently she's telling me to ask about something different. At some point, Leon had started chatting with the other family members. Jessica seemed to be getting irritated at having her butt pinched so much, and George was trying to calm her down. Jessica and George. Guess I'll hear their stories next. Compared to Maria, the anti-magic toxin is very strong in these two. At least at the beginning of the other games, they didn't acknowledge Beatrice. I mean, is this surprising? Not really. Maria showed me the point of view of one who believes. Now to hear from those who don't. Oh, I thought he was going to continue conversation, but chapter ended. Naruhodo. Ghost story at the VIP.
さっきはその
I mean, I kind of know the concept of the Mariage Sorcière, but I'm pretty sure it was repeated enough to be like, why do I even want to know, That's the thing, right? Amusing. Because it's just the alliance because it's the one that recognizes magic. You know?
次期当主様のせいでお見苦しいとこを見せちゃって。
あざになってねえか。あいつマジで容赦ねえ。
Yeah, I wonder how many times you're getting pinched there. Like, I know Willard is taking a beating, but still.
ジェシカ、何か言ったかい？
何ももう十分懲りたって。
Leon, who had apparently been chatting with the adult siblings, spun around with a smile and stared at Jessica. Looks like the older siblings firmly in control around here.
あいつその上地獄耳だな。ようやくリオンってやつが理解できてきた。
This Leon person seems to have sharp ears and a sharp mind.
そう昔から妙に勘がよくって。
その上ほら、大人受けが妙にいいし。私は家でも学校でも比べられてる。
そういえばリオンは中学も高校も生徒会長だったね。バドミントンの部長もやってたよね。
Leon plays badminton and engages in the student council activities. It's crazy.
行く先々でリオンと比較されてひでえ目にあったというわけだ。
私は中学に入って行ったぜ。その時はもう副会長やってた。来年は生徒会長になる気だろう。私の肩身が狭くなるからやめてくれって。
That's funny.
でも翌年にちゃっかり立候補して当選しちゃいやがった。高校でもそう。今度こそやめてくれって言ったのに、その時点でもまた副会長で。
What, did both Leon and Jessica attended the same school together? Is that what happened?
また3年になるのと同時に会長になりやがった。父さんはちやほやちやほや。母さんはあなたも妹として恥ずかしくないよう頑張りなさいってチクチクチクチク。
You know, that's the funny thing, you know, Jessica being jealous of Erica whenever Erica is being the center of attention, and now it's like Leon being the center of attention when it comes to Jessica's sibling.
でもそんなリオンの妹であることを誇りにも思ってるんでしょ。
It was like, hey, look on the bright side. Surely you're so proud to be Leon's little sis. Surely you're so proud to be Leon's younger sibling.
別にそんなこと思ったことはねえぜ。ああ、ねえぜ。全然ねえぜ。
That sounds very tsundere of you. 上が完璧だと息も詰まら。だが、他人は他人、お前はお前だ。
I mean, you can't really like force your sibling to be like perfect as the other, right? Like you got like because that's the thing. A brother and sister would have like different beliefs, you know, different behavior, different activities and the such, you know. But without any sort of like, you know, heated conflicts, it should be like an agree to disagree type of thing.
何も萎縮することはない。お前のしたいように精一杯好きにしたらいい。
もちろん。でも母さんたちは後ろ宮リオンの妹として恥ずかしくないよう後を引き継げってうるさい。生徒会に入れだの、バドミントンやれだの。
Forcing you to join. I mean, I guess like when you're forcing you to do like sports or engaging in club activities and whatnot, is like I guess it's something to like, you know, give you some sort of life experience or like prior, you know, hobby insight. But your parents telling you to follow within the siblings' footsteps, you want to be the same, is that that's kind of, I don't know, it seems kind of boring. Like hypothetically, imagine having parents, you know, and then you have like a sibling older than you, and then you're getting like roped in, forcing you to say like, hey, you know, I don't like you're living freely, what and whatnot. Why don't you be like your older sibling? That would be kind of a taxing, isn't it? I don't know. I'm not a, you know, a philosopher within terms of, you know, nor do I, you know, I mean, okay, what I'm saying is I'm not a philosopher in terms of like, you know, family behavior as a child, considering I'm like the only, because this is coming from someone speaking as the only child, so.
軽音楽はやっていないのか。
それは秘密ないっしょ。
Oh, I see what he did here. Apparently she's keeping it a secret from her family. Interesting. Interesting. People tend to blame things on their family and how they were raised. But this Jessica girl always like doing the same thing, even in a different world and a different family. It's admirable that she has such a true and constant interest in something.
俺は好きだぞ。ペッタンペッタンとか、スイーツスイーツとか。
you could tell by Willard's face that he was just pretending. He was like, surely you never played in a rock band, because obviously it it was hinting, back in episode 2 that Jessica was part of a music club or band of a such. But I love this. I always like seeing these, dialogue at hand and giving some sort of like realistic, rambling rather than because the thing with like because while I was listening to like Maria's belief and then there was some like a biblical comparison, it's like because her belief of like with it acknowledging the existence of Beatrice is almost like a person, like an average, religious person, like acknowledging the existence of God and whatnot. But I don't know. Maybe that can be like something I can think about later. Anyway, next part we'll continue more on Willard's conversation with like Jessica and George and the such, because he's already done talking to Maria. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Have a good one.